me.
Thank you. And I think yeah, no, I did. Yeah. And maybe today, so that I had a heart attack. It's so her editing, that it's like she goes over each one of the camera, and she literally like she did exactly the same. That looks like she got so then I so like she has to go with it and she was on the word problem that we reflected on the lot of it. It goes below. She went back to the that's what it's like in there. I was like, I want to put out the beach. But you know, we're doing so much. And I'm like, can you put that again? I'm not sure that it's supposed to be. It's so. Yeah. And so much energy. I know it's so wonderful.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. We're just gonna get right into it so that our speaker can talk. She has some amazing things to talk about. Hello. Approval of the January meeting minutes. So our last meeting was held on January 17th, 2024. There we approved the minutes for November's meeting. Our guest speakers were Dr. Ashley Hogan from Extraordinary Kids Therapy, Mr. Brian Mills, Mr. Ralph Bordeaux from the Smithfield Little League Challenger Division. You can look at the full notes and video playback on Smithfield Public Schools District website and SSELAC's Google website. The board spoke about our Santa event, positivity showcase, sensory Saturdays, color run information. We had a breakout session and came back to discuss the parent questionnaire data follow-up from the previous meeting. Lastly, we had our special education director's report. And then we ended the meeting. Yes, okay. Everybody good? Awesome. Okay, so we have Linda Brunetti with us tonight from the Autism Project. Okay.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Linda. I am at the Autism Project. I have a child, an adult child, who's now 30. He was diagnosed only when he was 12. So I feel parents who get diagnoses young now, it seems overwhelming, but I missed out on 12 years of early intervention and supports and services. So we're in a good place once we finally got those supports and services. And I was pointed to the Autism Project. That was the first agency that was able to help me, help my son, help my family, and they gave me hope. So fast forward, 7 years ago, there was they got a $2 million grant to talk to parents, train parents, and professionals for birth to 5 about milestones and what to watch for and how to encourage those milestones, but also how to have a conversation with the parent, like if you're a daycare provider. Or if you're a parent and you have questions or you have concerns and the pediatrician says, oh, let's wait, let's wait and see. So we trained 4,000 professionals and we trained 18 or almost 1,900 parents 7 years ago in regards to early childhood and childhood development. 3 years of that wonderful grant. When it ended, my job ended. So I went to work at Ripen, another great program. So I worked with them. I started in September and then COVID hit. So then I went home and actually some of them are still at home at Ripen. And then a permanent position opened up at the Autism Project and they said, do you want to come back? And I said, of course, I'm coming home, So I've been there. It just made 2 more years in February. So the Autism Project has been around for 27 years. A lot of people still have never heard of us. Even though autism, you can't possibly know someone who doesn't know someone who has autism now. Because there's so many more diagnoses. In my personal opinion, I think it's because they have better screening tools. When my son was 12, when he was young, he didn't speak, but he was reading books when he was 3 years old. He was reading author chapter books. And we knew that he was comprehending them because he could draw pictures and tell us about the story. He just couldn't tell us in words. So, but they kept telling us, oh, it's not autism, you know, they were only looking for what they called classic autism, or level 3 now. Those were really severely impacted. And we were more with the verbal, but also like social stuff. So we finally got the diagnosis. He's 30 now. He traveled the world with Monster Jam. He works and volunteers. We grew up and he was educated in the socket. He was in the top 50 in his class. He was in AP classes and did really well. Socially, he still struggled. He still struggled. But he ran for city council. He lost, but he ran for city council. Because he really wants to help, you know, better his town. Volunteers at the high school and the middle school band and the Autumn Fest and everything. So you've probably heard my last name at some point somewhere. That's my kid. We do a lot of things with the Autism Project. My particular job is a family support specialist and a community healthcare worker, which means we can bill Medicaid for some of my hours, which as a nonprofit is very helpful for us because the lights on. What we do for parents is all free. You know, we're out and about everywhere, speaking at SSELAC meetings, out in the community at fun runs, color runs. So we really try to get our information out there because we don't charge for any of our services. So being able to bill Medicaid for some of the supports that we do has been very helpful. And now I am not the only person on my team with my manager. We actually have 3 other employees now, because we're able to make a little bit of money so that we can spread out even more. We have a bilingual family support specialist. Her name is Minnie Ortiz. She works at the CNDC and she works at the Autism Project. One of my newest coworkers, she's been with us a year. She's from India and she speaks 3 languages. So we're able to tap into the Indian families and be able to help them understand autism, which has its own language, but in their first language, which has really been very helpful. And then we have Jody Beth Garvey, who was in the education field for 25 years. So she comes with a lot of information from the school side and classroom sides and things like that. So we are a very large eclectic group of ladies. I run a support group for parents. I run a family grandparent support group. So the grandparent support group started a year after the Autism Project started 27 years ago, and they're still there. We have the founding mothers of the grandmothers and grandfathers who still come to our meetings to support families who are just coming into the world of autism. So we're very lucky to have them. We have a summer camp, Camp Want to Go Again. It is run by clinicians and speech pathologists and OTs and speech pathologists and all of us, and then we train new staff members to come on. If you are free in the summer and you would like to work at summer camp, we are always looking for people who understand our guys without having to have too much intense training. So you know anybody who's looking for a summer job. We actually have a 3-week camp now. It was 2 weeks, and now we added a 3rd group because kids like my son, who is now 30 and started at the Autism Project when they were young, are now adults. So we now have an adult program. So we have Monday and Wednesday morning. Those are the guys who are really impacted by their autism, and they come with their support staff. On Monday and Wednesday afternoon, we have those who are not as much impacted by their autism, but still need a support staff. And now we have a 3rd group on Wednesday nights, and those are self-advocates. So they're in their 30s, they're married, they're working, they're driving, they're, whatever, but they have autism. They still need a group of people who understand and are kind of, oh yeah, I don't know what my boss was thinking. Oh, my boss is really hard too. And they help each other through this next stage of their lives. I'm sorry, I'm really trying now. So we do a lot. We do a lot. Our littlest, our small ones are age 5. and up. And we have two people who are in their sixties who attend our social skills group at night for our adults. So we are a very wide range of family members, and that's what we are. We are the Autism Project family. We just suffered a loss at the Autism Project. I'm sorry. One of my coworkers passed away on Monday night, very, very unexpectedly. So we're working through as staff members to support each other, but also how we support our families and how parents are going to be having that conversation with their child if it's something that needs to be happening. So we created we wrote a social story, and we've got some brief coloring books for them to help them process all of that. We have brief counselors that were at the office before I came, and they'll be there all weekend and then next week also, just to help families and us process our loss. So we had a lot going on. On the table, I brought a bunch of resources for us, flyers. We have a current parent training going on. There's 2 more trainings. The first and second week of April. We just finished up with toilet training, and we did Autism 101. And last night I did I forgot what I did last night. Anyway, I think with social communication. So there's 2 more coming up in the first week of April. We have camp, which is up there. We have a library group. I don't know if you guys are aware, but 7 years ago, the library, and we thought it was our only safe place. We were thrown out of everywhere. Daycare centers, one after the other. I had to, work part-time because I had to stay home with my son until my husband got home, and my mom kind of took care of him in between and all of that. So we were thrown out of everywhere because no one could just understand. And I didn't understand either because I knew a diagnosis, so it was really hard. But the library was my safe place. Even all those years ago, the librarian put a red tablecloth over her desk. And if my son had a hard time, she had a tennis ball, she had a stuffed animal, and his favorite octopus. And if he had a hard time, he could just go under the table. So I said, well, we need to work with librarians. So we created a library roundtable, sensory, I'm sorry, I have no words, sensory something, libraries. But it's libraries in Rhode Island, and they have sensory playtime. They have sensory story times. Babs does one here, and then is it Christine in the East Smithfield? Carol, thank you. I'm sorry, wrong names, wrong word. Yeah, so she does sensory stuff too. So they just do amazing things, and there's librarians from across the country who are joining in on our meetings to learn more, so they can create them, elsewhere. So it's a really good group, and Maria, who is our chairperson for the library group, she has a daughter with autism, so she gets it. So she said, well, I'm gonna do it here, and so it's just been exploding, and she was like librarian of the year, and she's getting all these awards because she is creating a safe place for our families. So if you go on our Facebook page, we share live events from everywhere. If you share it with me, I'm going to share it with our family. So it's on our Facebook page. There's other, I don't know what they are, like not Facebook, but other things like that. The X place. I don't do it. I don't know what they are. Yeah. So we do have a social media person. So I give everything to Gianna, and she shares all that stuff. Isn't it awful? I'm just. So anyway, so all of my stuff, I'm gonna just leave it on the table over there for you guys to just grab. I brought these folders. We received a grant 3 years ago, a 3-year grant with the Department of Justice, and we just received 2 more years of funding through the Department of Justice. It's all about safety. So we're training first responders, police, fire, and paramedics, how to approach our guys. Any disability, not just autism, right? If you're blind, if you're deaf, even if you're in a wheelchair, right? You're gonna respond differently to crisis situations. Unfortunately, we know that guys with autism, they will, and a lot of those outcomes are sad. So we created this wonderful thing, with visuals, that we're using and we're training police officers. These are in their cars. If they're willing to take our training, we are willing to bombard them with as much information and these things, they're in their car. And, the autism project is right down the street in Johnston, and, there's a police officer who has a son with autism, and he had to respond to a home. And it was a grandmother who just had to take custody of her grandson, and it's a terrible situation. He was yelling and screaming, and the grandmother kept saying, "It's okay, it's okay." And he was yelling and screaming, and neighbors called the police. So when the police got there, when the police got to the home, and they knocked on the door, he's trying to get out, and she's standing there trying to keep the door closed, saying, my grandson is 8 years old, his name is Manny, and please, he has autism. He doesn't speak. He's just really wound up. He had a tough day at school, whatever. So it was really, grandma's crying, and so the police officer said, "It's okay. I understand. I have a son with autism." So they gently opened the door. He comes running out. And then we just let it done. There was a rookie police officer, so he automatically went for his taser. He was gonna tase an 8-year-old. Because he doesn't understand, I'm sorry, he doesn't understand, right? But the police officer, he just took Maddie's hand, moved it to his badge, right? Look at this, right? This is my badge. And just made the rookie like, get out of the way. And it ended wonderfully. He connected that grandmother to us. I've been working with that grandmother for 7 weeks, 8 weeks. He's taking our social skills. He's connecting with our staff. He's asking for grandma. Before he just was running away. So they need it. They need our training. They need to understand. So we can have outcomes like that. And ending with the taser. So very emotional. So we have these visuals, stop signs. We laminate everything because we know we go through stuff so fast. If you have stuff that you need laminated, let us know. If you need help making visuals, let us know. We will make them for you. We have these pictures of bodies. We have a boy and a girl. Well, hands are shaking. And we even have different color skin so that the child can connect with what they're looking at. So this is the front, this is that. And you can say, where does it hurt? Right? Because they don't have the words. My son, once he finally got his words, he speaks like a professor, But in a crisis situation, he throws up. Threw up on a police officer. He got pulled over for driving too slow on the highway. Pulled over and the police officer said, do you know why I pulled you over? And he said, no, I'm doing 55. And he said, yeah, but you're going too slow. And he said, what? And then he threw up and then he couldn't speak. But I had made a little card to put in his wallet that says, I have autism. I may not be able to access my words. I may roll my eyes because he also has Tourette's. So when something happens, he's able to hand that card over. He got into a terrible car accident. He said to the paramedic, he didn't say, but he pointed like to his pocket, but he was afraid to move because he knows, like, you never move because something could be hurt. So you just sit there. So the paramedic pulled his wallet out and said, okay, you have autism. All right, I'm going to ask you some questions. Does your head hurt? Yes. Yeah, glass all over. But even though he speaks like a professor, in that moment, he couldn't access. So having this in the police cars, in the ambulances, and in the fire trucks, it's really been very, very, we've had so much positive stories out of combat where they've used it and they've been able to communicate and we're able to, assess the situation better than trying to guess. So those are my visuals. And then, sorry. We also include how to teach, right? If you've never used these before, if your child's never used them before, it's like, okay, there's the break part. What do I do with that thing? So we made visuals. We made lessons, one pagers on how to teach the stuff, how to ask for a break, how to ask for help, how to ask for, how to teach them how to wait, right? That's like the worst. They never need you until you pick up your phone, right? They never need you until your friend knocks at the door and say, hey, let's have coffee. And then all of a sudden they launch you for, your undivided attention. So it's all in here. It's all in this packet on how to teach. It's good if you know how to use it, but somebody who watches your kid doesn't. My mom didn't know, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was flying by the seat of my pants, but I had to teach her. Because, she didn't know. And when you're using something and everybody's doing the same thing, using the same words, the same pictures, it just, resonates a little bit more. And then the biggest part of this packet is the saves and papers, okay? So this is all from the Big Red Box. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. It's, you just Google the Big Red Box autism. It's all about safety. It's a cardboard box that comes in the mail, and it's got a wristband that says I have autism. It's got those little like window sensors. So if your child elopes, the window will, the alarm will like beep to let you know, oh, there's a door open or a window open. If I had an alarm system when my son was 5 and he got out in the middle of the night and I didn't even know he was gone until the police brought him back. I didn't have an alarm system. I didn't even know he left in the middle of the night. But I had the sense or the craziness to bring my kid to the fire department and the police department, first shift, second shift, and third shift, because he never slept and still doesn't sleep. And they got to know him, and he got to know them, so he felt safe with them. We brought pictures and we brought snacks every time we went. We baked cupcakes and cookies and whatever. So there was an impression. So when they found him wandering down the street in my neighborhood, even though he couldn't say his name or his address or his phone number, they knew who he was, they knew where he lived, and they brought him back. They didn't call DCYF, they knew it wasn't neglect, they knew he had autism, and that. So this form you fill out when it's calm, if it ever happens, and you need the first responder, you hand them this. I was telling them earlier, I don't think I could have remembered the color of my son's eyes. When they knocked on my door and my kid was standing there, I was dumbfounded. So, but they had them. Can you imagine if they did it, right? So if you fill these out when it's calm and you make copies and you always have a current picture, leave them in your car, leave them wherever they go. If they go to daycare, if they go to maids, if they go to aunties, whatever, leave a copy of this. If something happens, they get there, you hand this to them. You don't have to, he doesn't take his notebook out and start asking you these questions and writing the answers. It's already done. And it really can save a life. So I really, strongly suggest that. My safety plan, right? I never thought of doing a fire drill at home. I don't know, I just never did, even though the fire department's right around the corner and we live there practically, just getting to know everybody. But with visuals, with very simple, sorry, I'm so emotional. A social story, short, sweet, simple. This is what you do. This is what you can do. And this, and again, save a life. More paperwork, more forms to fill out. There's even stuff for schools, like get to know me, right? I did this when Adam was little. It was the Adam 101, and I gave it every year. I brought it to school. I gave it to every single teacher that he came in contact with. The lunch ladies had it. Bus drivers who didn't even take him on the bus, but had it in case he ever got out of bus. I just always filled it out, and I didn't even know it was the right thing to do, but it was. So if you fill this out, it just gives information about your guys. Like I said, even if they have words, sometimes they can't get them. Kind of like me right now. And then a simple social story again. It's really simple to follow. This one is 3 sentences about sitting in a car. In a car seat. Like with the seatbelt going across, right? A lot of kids like to put their over their head or whatever. So we took a picture of a little of our little girl sitting in her car seat. And it just says, this picture helps me remember what to do. My bottom is in the seat, my seatbelt is on, and my feet hang down, because she likes to sit as crisscross applesauce in the car seat. So, and then we had that picture. So with the constant reminder, it was on the back of the mom's driver's seat. So she could see this, it was a constant reminder for the little girl. And then the last one, special needs student profile. Adam 101, what he likes, what he doesn't like, what to watch for. Adam's ears would get really red when he would get upset. Next step, he would rub his eyes. That was step 2. If he got to rubbing his nose and blowing air out, flipping a dust, play his room. So you know your kid has these certain signs, and you let the teacher know, it's a win-win. If they can save the desk from being flipped and the classroom from being cleared, it's a win-win for everybody. So all those little things that we don't think matter or important or they don't need to know, it really does help everybody. It's a win-win. So I forgot my cards, my business cards. There's a paper on the table. Oh my gosh. If you want to leave your name, your phone number, or your email, whatever, you want to call, you want to talk, you just need some help with some visuals, need some help understanding all of this paperwork, please reach out at any time, and, I will get them. Anybody have any questions? I know it just spewed a lot of things.
One of your trainings on April 9th.
Yeah.
Are those trainings on Zoom recorded?
We have a morning session
Yeah,
that is in person,
okay.
and then the night session is on Zoom.
Is that, is that recorded? I have my.
No, they're not.
No,
recorded.
they're not.
We are working on
Okay.
like canning our trainings. We're actually gonna be recording how to teach these visuals so that parents can just, go through and pause it and whatever. We're starting that next week. So we're starting to record our stuff.
Great, thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Do you have, are all the parent trainings that you have on one of those sheets, like all the topics? that you have
Yes.
Trainings for?
Yes, yep, so there's 2 that have already happened, well, 3, because we did toilet training. So 2 have already happened, and then there's 2 more.
So
But
those are
then-
the 4
Yeah.
topics.
Yes, and then in the fall, we repeat them again. We have been doing parent trainings, like individual, one parent to one of us. Sometimes the schedule just doesn't work, or sometimes the parents are just so overwhelmed and they just need the connection. So we're able to now do one-to-one trainings if that's, needed. Yep, okay. So I don't have my card, but like I said, there's a form up there. And then if you can just scan it and email it to me, that would be great. And then I can just get back to all of you. This week is a little bit tough for us, but I will do my best to get back to you, by early next week, the very latest. All right, I'm leaving all that stuff, and I am leaving these packets. If you want to take more than one packet, bring it home, bring it to a friend, bring it to your mother's house, whatever, please feel free. And we have 1,700 packets for family and educators that our adult groups have stuffed for us. So we have plenty more. We have plenty. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
They, I don't know, what is the project that they gonna train down?
Was that for me?
No, I'm sorry, the fire department. The fire department ever have training in town? The police did, but I don't know who did it on.
Yeah, I'm not, it's actually the group that does the training for the firefighters and the first responders. I'm gonna mess this up. It's the Public Safety Special Needs Coalition, so whatever that acronym is. It's run by Alicia Eid, who is one of my former coworkers. And it started with the Lincoln Fire Department and the police department. And
they're the ones who go out and do all of the training.
Oh.
We just help to share all of this and, they were doing, they do still events. They do like an Easter, no, what's in Halloween in October? They do like a truck or treat.
Yeah.
So the fire trucks and the police cars are all there. And then they can, they can go and trick or treat to the first responders so that, again, we just want them to not be afraid of them. We want them to bring things with them. They were doing bowling. We were doing bowling once a month. And then there was an issue with the bowling alley. So they're trying to work that out. And again, that's bowling with first responders. So now you're seeing them in another light, you're having fun, you're bowling with them and you're having a slice of pizza or whatever. So it's a really good group. It just had some issues with the bowling alley, so they're trying to, I guess bowling alleys are just like going away and it's hard to find them now, so. But they are, working on more events. And we have a Facebook page and an X page. But you can go on our Facebook page and like I said, we share all the events that we know of. I know there's an Easter egg hunt, coming up at Kent Hospital. Kent Hospital, that's in Warwick. So that's all on our website too, on our Facebook page. We have I have a Facebook support group also. And then there's like a blog, that I do somehow. So we do have a lot of social media and it's mostly me responding, but I'm not the one who's setting it up. Thank you so much.
Our next topic is the positivity showcase. We've had a lot happen since our last meeting.
So, we had 2 recipients in January. Was Miss Joanne Scolante, special educator at Pleasant View, and we had Ms. Lisa Piva, a bus monitor for DACO.
The best part was when I went to Joanne's on the Cheryl's.
She's like, no,
Somebody else.
I was
She's
out.
here. She's like,
Yeah, she's like, what is this?
what is, who is here? I'm like, where for you? She's like, no, it was the best. It was awesome. It was
And then
like-
you were mad. That
It
we were
was
there.
Yeah, it was so good. I didn't even know you were so like,
Yeah.
it was great. And the bus,
Thank
the
you.
bus was another one that was great. She did not see it like at all. So that's another fun.
And then, 2 more in February. Mr. Michael Gavitt, who is a special educator at Smithfield High School, and he was the first one at the high school.
And first name.
And the first one. And, Mrs. Claudia Jacob, a paraprofessional at Gallagher. So I sent out the votes for tonight, so we'll be voting for March. And I think just one for March.
You're probably going this week for March.
I am going for March.
We're going for March next week, and then
I'm
we're voting
sorry.
for April.
We're voting for April.
We have
I
March.
was like, wait.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
I know who's.
This is April.
I mixed it up, sorry. But yeah, if we can spread the word, we're not getting as many in, so we're starting to like slow down. So if we can spread the word.
Just repost it.
Yeah, well, I keep, yeah.
Yeah,
Or have
it's
the
been
schools
in,
I might have
like,
to.
Dr. Barks has put in the superintendent one.
Yeah.
We've sent it out, so we just having the
Let me see
principal
something.
just send it out again, just, another avenue.
Yeah.
Some things coming up, the sensory friendly arts and crafts event at East Smithfield Public Library. I just put the 3 dates for the rest of the school year. It's always the second Saturday of every month. This is the second year that we've done it. We can be as loud as we want to be in that room. We just shut the doors and we do lock them because we have had some elopers there. So they know, like I said, they could care less. We have tons of different types of sensory bins, fidgets, tons of toys, arts and crafts of all kinds. It's just like a smorgasbord of things, and there's been such a range of people that have come in from preschool students to we've had high school students before. We have a lot of volunteers that come and hang out with everybody. And East Smithfield Library has also been promoting it. They've been putting it in Smithfield Times and just in their own newsletters too, which has been nice, just kind of getting everybody to hear about it. And then CPR and first aid, we're doing one next Thursday. I emailed everybody that had filled out the survey throughout the past month. A lot of people are going to the one next Thursday, but if anybody here wants to go to that one and you didn't sign up, totally fine, just email me. And there will be one on a weekend in April. It's just coordinating a time and day that we can actually have the instructor there. He is super busy. But yeah, all right, inclusion committee. Ellen's gonna bring us, talk about that.
So the last meeting was at the end of February and we had, some of the teachers share like what, they've been using as, resources in their classroom. So, finding different books that targeted different, disabilities and, they put together like little sample lesson plans or talking points that they can share with their class. We talked to Laura Field Swallow about kind of town resources for kids with disabilities, and in particular, kind of focused on playground equipment. She talked about how at Deerfield they have Tina's Bench, which is an accessible area for students or adults with who are in a wheelchair to sit and, talk with others. We talked about the swing
Yeah,
at Deerfield.
a lot about the swing
Yeah.
that is an adaptive swing and how a lot of people don't even know it's adaptive, and that's like the biggest issue with it. So we were on that for like 15 minutes. I feel like we just
Yeah.
kept bringing up the swing. And the table, we talked about, the table is great, but that too.
Right, but then she kind of talked about like, how
Another
can we
pavilion.
expand that? Like, are there other pieces of playground equipment? And so accessible playground equipment, for whatever reason, is pretty expensive. I mean, I guess regular playground equipment is too, but
Once you get anything special needs, they just jack it up.
it just
Always.
jacked it up.
Everything.
And so she had applied for some grants to, so they can invest in some additional equipment. They didn't get those grants. So they did kind of shift focus at Willow Field and looking at pickleball courts. And once they find out whether they've got that grant or not, then they can resume looking for any opportunities, for some additional equipment. But she even talked about not only like equipment, but having like audio versions, like if you're going on, one of the trails that, there was an audio version that, families or, individuals could listen to, like as they're, walking on the trail and have accessibility that way. So definitely, she's, an advocate for, students with disabilities, adults with disabilities, and has that in her, kind of planning as she works, with the rec. So she did, say, like, if anybody comes across anything or wants to be, a partner in trying to help locate, resources or ideas, that she's more than welcome.
She said it's enough parents or people within town that want to kind of talk about it, that she'll form a committee and we can have like actual meetings, whether they're in person or on Zoom, just to kind of everybody just, what they've seen in other towns or, what you've heard of, what you found or anything. But just to email her to let her know, like, hey, I want to be involved too, so that she can kind of start compiling names and figure out where to go from there.
We talked about unified sports, so unified has started at the secondary level, so talked about, we know that we do have some banner schools in the district, and what could we do to get everybody, that banner. So we talked about that, and then kind of ended the meeting talking about, we're an inclusion committee, and so not only thinking about like students with disabilities, but inclusion of anybody who, may have a difference, whether it's race or language or culture, and how do we include those? So there's it's a growing list of resources, right? I know, Amanda shared, lists of books, we talked about putting together, you know, a webpage, we've got sample lessons, and so now it's just kind of expanding. Really to make sure that there are equal opportunity within the schools in the district.
Yeah, I think that's like Jess is celebrating their unified homecoming coming up, the 29th.
Oh.
Yeah, and
it
then there's
April?
a pep rally in April.
Yeah,
Is that-
yeah,
yeah.
April 29th.
April 29th?
Yeah, so I think the unified, Pleasant View unified leaders are going in from.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Or Friday, Good Friday.
No.
April 29th, March 10th.
April 29th. I think it's a Tuesday, is it Tuesday? Because I know it was team day. and
Oh, March.
Oh, I remember thinking, that unified is over then, but we were.
Oh, you think it's before? I'm
Um,
thinking April 29th, but.
It's what?
It's either the 29th or the 30th.
Of April.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a Tuesday.
Oh,
So
so
the
the
30th.
Thirtieth,
The Tuesday.
Oh, I think it's the 30th, yeah.
maybe. That might be the week.
So
like
I have
last week of
April
Unified.
30th, it's a Tuesday, and it would be from 12:45 to 2:15.
Could it be?
So
Will
I
they
think
get
Three
out?
girls on.
Is that open to?
Oh, fun. What else is that open? I don't know.
I don't know, because
so-
I shouldn't say, we haven't gotten a final approval yet to go, so that's in the works, but.
So for sports, we have basketball going on right now, but we're working on in-school clubs.
Okay.
We have an after-school club that got approved maybe I think 3 weeks ago. So we're working on that. We have Thursday during advisory, we have students come down to work with the IEC students. And that's really what we're working on right now. But we're really working on getting the club started after school.
Awesome.
So hopefully that can start mid-April, probably after break.
So is your advisory totally ability bridge or no? If it's like
So-
alphabetical, I know they used to do it alphabetical.
So, do you mean like
So
the
you
kids
said
that
it-
come down to?
So I'm just curious if your advisory is the ability bridge time in the high school or no?
No, so that's just, Club Unified. So advisory, everyone has
Yeah,
advisory.
yeah,
But on Thursdays, we talk to the principal and he's allowing us to get a group of kids to come down to the IC room. But that has nothing to do with Ability Bridge. It's
Okay.
with Club Unified at the
yeah.
high
Oh,
school.
nice.
Awesome. Next thing is the color run. So the color run's kicking off. We're gonna start sending, we have the pre-registration, we have about 120 people pre-registered, so that hasn't been blasted to the schools yet. So I estimate it's gonna grow more because this was just a couple months before. We have the Autism Project coming, we have the Doug Flutie Junior Foundation, we have Down Syndrome Rhode Island coming, we have Extraordinary Kids, we have Zolano Insurance, we have Texas Roadhouse, New Level Nutrition. I'm forgetting more. Who was it?
There's so many people.
There's so many different awesome organizations that are coming. What was it? Oh, yeah, Premier Realty, Special Olympics is coming.
Sherlock came last year.
Sherlock came, they can't make it this year. But so many different organizations coming to share information and participate, which is gonna be great. There's a parent who's gonna face paint and rock painting and just different fun things that are gonna happen on May 4th. So look for the new registration coming out. If you pre-registered, you don't have to register again. And then we're gonna see what schools can do something. So La Perche fifth grade is gonna be doing they're organizing a table. I know Pleasant View is gonna organize a table. I haven't heard from Old County Gallagher, but Ability Bridge is gonna be there
Yeah,
too.
we can also have like a high school unified club table if you want.
Yes, absolutely. I'll put that down too. So we just, and I'm sure Gallagher will have a Gallagher unified
Yeah.
table too. So I just gotta get to Old County and see if they can, just so each school's represented would be great. And if not, I'll just make it Old County table. But, and then we'll just, we'll just go.
Thank you for the sandwiches last week.
Oh,
too. That
yes.
was really
Oh, yeah, so
nice.
that's another thing. We partnered with the Doug Flutie Junior Foundation, which is great. We contacted Sue Valenti from there. We were like, oh, she's gonna come to the the color run, and she made us aware of different grants, and she'll come and present to different, awesome grants that parents can apply for, and, so they had this red relay, so all, the police department came, and the three of us came, and, the chief of police's daughter played, she's amazing, at piano. She's so awesome. She's so awesome, which is thanks to the high school, which is great that they told us about. She never played an instrument until she was here in high school. She plays the trumpet and the piano, and she's incredible. And so was the chief. I've never talked to him before.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was great to talk to.
She got a bachelor's degree from
Yes.
music. Yeah, and she got a Sunshine Award from Rick, which I had never heard of before, but it's about, somebody with perseverance and trying.
Awesome.
Yeah.
She is awesome. And she's one of the Fluties stars. So she performed at Fenway Park last year
Oh, I
with
heard that.
Cody from America's Got Talent. He was there
Wow.
too, and she got to perform, and there was so many stars of the spectrum, and she was one of them, which is great, in Smithfield. I mean, what are the odds of that? So hopefully she'll get to come out too. I
Yeah.
talked to the chief to see, the police are gonna come for the one too. And where was I going with that? Oh, yes, so. The sandwiches. So she said they could donate up to 75 sandwiches. So we're like, yes, we'll take all 75, but we wanted to make sure each school had somebody represented, so we felt like the ISE teachers in every school are therapeutic. Not that they get overlooked, but I know what it's like being a special needs parent. It's like, so I'm like, we really wanna highlight them because they work hard every single day. And then Pleasant View doesn't have an ISE or therapeutic, so special educators in every school work hard. So it's not that, but they just didn't have a program. We're like, we're gonna acknowledge the special educators in Pleasant View. So every ISE school or therapeutic at Olds County, and the special educators at Pleasant View, all their visits. So
Thank you.
that was great. Yeah, no, it was fun. Thank you guys for everything. So yeah.
Is the zoo camp at Raglan part of the WFUD or no?
Oh, I don't know.
The zoo camp, how the. I did look into that one, talking about.
I don't know.
I didn't know.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
They're great in all of their, I don't know if anybody has ever looked at their grants or anything, but there's a lot of different parent grants on their website, and just gonna educate.
They have, a tracker grant, it's like a watch, and, it's really easy to apply. And I think they just ask that you take a picture in return so they can post it.
Yeah.
We did it for David a long time ago, and we would keep the darn bracelet on, so I gave it back, but
Yeah.
it was so easy to work with them, and it wasn't a hard form to fill out. They were really great.
It seems like they just want to give away these grant money, is what she pretty much made it seem like. And I was like, all right, we'll take anything you want to give, so. The 27th?
March 27th, 100%.
Oh, yeah, and March 27th, Jersey Mike's 100% of sales
Oh,
go
yeah.
back to the Doug Flutie Foundation, so that's huge.
When is it?
March 27th.
Next Wednesday. Yeah.
100% sales, that's absolutely crazy. I've never heard of that. A business donating
No.
100%, which is great, so all throughout New England,
Wow.
all the stores in New England will go back. I think that's it. Yeah, and I mean, we have if you have any updates or
For your own stuff.
So just, ESY planning is definitely, in full swing. Next time we meet as a group, I'll go over the grant that we get from the state, which is, the federal funds, for special ed, and we'll review like how I'm gonna, divvy up those funds. Historically, they've really just been used for staff. Smithfield just doesn't get a lot that can be used for supplies and materials, but I want you to, give you your, input, and so you can take a look at that. So I'll need probably a little more time.
Absolutely. whatever.
Did you say, or do we know, where ESY is gonna be this year?
So it's Pleasant View. The only possible class that might be held at the high school is the ISE, only because they have all their equipment here. We weren't able to use it last year due to construction, but things were fine at Pleasant View. It's just, I feel like, their kitchen is over here and things. So I'm just not sure about that class, but everything else will be.
The dates, today.
Yes, July 8th to August 8th.
Open forum, so if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, any new ideas. Feel free.
Respect it's going well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tomorrow we have the, Down syndrome. So just coming in. Yep, socks and blue and yellow, I think.
Blue and yellow.
Yeah.
Great to hear that.
The same thing will hurt to the same day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
National Down syndrome, yeah. Any new updates to high school, you want to share, or ability break stuff?
Easter egg. hunt.
Yeah, that would be great. Have an Easter egg hunt on the 30th.
Yep.
10 to 11, all are welcome. We also have another buddy event at Extraordinary Kids, April 14th. We're still gonna, I don't know the time on that yet, but definitely let you guys know. The high school, let's see, we have a meeting tomorrow. Club Unified has a meeting tomorrow. We're gonna talk about things that we can do to improve the high school with Unified. Yeah.
You guys still gonna come to LEAP too?
Yes, yep.
Okay, so that's another thing too. LEAP, which would have been at Pleasant View, it's like the after school E's.
Yeah.
So, Grayson's at LaFerge and I'm like, oh, and he's included in everything after school. It's nothing like that, but I'm like, there's nothing that's catered towards Grayson. It'd be great to have like Gallagher has Unified, the high school has Unified. So to kind of keep that, at LaFerge, we're starting, a LEAP program after school. So it's called Linked Up Leopards. And gearing to link up kids with all abilities to just come after school an hour a week and just play and hang out and just be visible and see kids and appreciate everybody's differences. So that's starting with LEAP this year, and Ability Bridge is gonna come, some of Gallagher's kids are gonna come.
Is that a SELAC thing?
That is a me just,
For the man thing.
that's just me a Wednesday just signing up, just because.
But it's an interesting point, because like none of the elementary schools have after school anything.
Pleasant View used to, so
I
just
know.
from being on PTO, because of the size of the school and the YMCA being there, we had no room, and it was honestly torture. When I was on PTO, not PTO, no, but it was complete torture to try and have school programs. Because we'd be given like, we can't use the gym because the YMCA had some type of agreement with the school. Then, okay, you can either use the gym or the CAF, and then you get like one classroom, but can't really use it. It was,
You did it
So
last
it
year
was a
though.
It was a PTO.
Because
thing?
Benjamin. Yeah,
Hey,
because
we did board
Benjamin-
games.
So that Benjamin was in the board games.
Yeah.
Benjamin was in the board games last year.
that was me running the board
And
games.
so I'm not sure why.
So, yeah. So that was me running the board games last year at Pleasant View, but this year.
But, yeah. No, but there was other groups like Lego group and.
It was just hard.
Through
But
Unified?
It's a board,
No, it was E's.
that was PTO.
Yeah.
And this is LEAP is through their PTO too. I just volunteered. The LEAP is there.
Got it.
I just was like, hey.
But
I need
like,
something else to do.
well, LEAP programs or E's programs through PTO are parents with children that have special needs, or just parents?
Anybody. So like they have like, the lady with the pets. What's her name?
Oh.
The petting,
Hold on.
Nancy.
Hey, look it up, hold on.
Like she has a class,
Oh,
or
yeah.
there'll be like a Lego class,
Yeah.
or an art and crafts.
Yeah, my niece did fashion design.
Yeah, like, and at Pleasant View last year, we had like board games, Legos, arts and crafts. They would do like winter, a parent can sign up for any class. Like, hey, I want a quilt. You wanna make quilts, you can sign up to make quilts and you're like,
Just
just
thinking of like,
I can't have
parents
Gabriel.
doesn't, right, like a parent going is awesome. But what about a parent who doesn't understand a child with special needs? Then that child with special needs can't go. Like, I wouldn't send David to a Lego
I only
group
sent
with
one
a
last year because
parent.
Amanda and Alicia.
That's what
were
I
together.
mean, if you're doing it, you understand, right? Like you have the awareness,
Right.
but we don't have anything like that at the elementary level.
I do know,
Yeah.
I do know at LaFerge, we usually, if there is someone like from my class or another program, we usually do try to find that support for them. Like from a para or somebody. else to help
I know the
support. Yeah.
school will, if it's a school event, they'll find a para, but like just. I'm a vocal parent, so I would ask, but
You are?
there are a lot of parents and they're not.
Besides,
So
too.
like, how would they know,
There's so-
right?
yeah,
Like,
there's so
you
many
want your
things
kids to
to do with-
participate, but I'm not gonna do that because
But
God knows what's gonna happen.
how many kids like you feel or?
Cause
Cause
she's
it's,
saying like, say if she was at,
Oh.
LaPerche or whatever, and she was saying, just
Could
like.
SELAC looked into doing something like that?
after
If
school
we get
program,
volunteers,
yeah,
like-
there's volunteers.
one
Cause like for,
supporter.
I think as long as
One
parents
even
are
if
in
it's
that
not
school,
once a month.
we could, as.
Have like a- an after school unified.
I
One
mean,
of our-
if we can get volunteers,
yeah, I think
but
a lot
to
of
gear
it's
it
like
more
the time.
towards activities that all children can do. And having support people who understand.
Or adapted
differences.
activities, like that's, it depends on like who I'm gonna see for the 15, and then see how many kids. And then see what adapted.
How many kids did you have, do you remember last year for
4 kids?
Pleasant View? Was it like more than LaPerche? Was it like insane?
I had 2, yes, I had 2, but it was, you know.
I'm just thinking size.
But
That's
we had
why,
2
like, the
parents, it
parents
was
would
like
be-
30-something kids because we had 2 parents. You know,
Yeah,
so it
maybe
depends on
you
how many
have to have-
parents, so it's like
you have to
15
have
kids per
smaller
parent.
Groups.
You could definitely look into it. I know that they have Frank Luca in there right now, and that was 38, nope, yeah, 38 kids was the cap
Just
for
a
two
thought,
grades.
because if SELAC can,
Did the
Sponsor.
PTO do it as a, like a
Yeah,
sort of a
but they're-
fundraiser too? Cause I think that's how they do it at, like you
PTO,
pay 30 and 5 goes to the PTO.
that's how they did it, yeah, Pleasant View didn't do it. I'm doing the class for free because I feel like
Oh,
it's
you're
like-
doing it.
at LaPerche, yes,
Yes.
as a lead class. But it's a PTO, but still, I said,
still a
yeah.
PTO.
You can pick the amount of.
But the
money.
other classes, like, they, yeah, they.
Like when the PTO is planning, like when the PTO meets and plans, like you could say, oh, how about this, or how
Yeah.
about that,
Right.
and then you can
Yeah, 'cause I know
set, you
some-
could set parameters.
Some
if you
groups
want.
have like material fees.
So we can go and,
Right.
I would say we would have to go next year.
Right.
And partner with the PTOs and say we want to make unified after-school clubs at each
And then get
school.
volunteers.
And then have.
Have
our
ample,
volunteers.
ample hands on, yeah. Cause you just don't.
Yeah, and that would have to be
Like my issue right now, why not only, I mean, obviously Gabriel would need help to go with her, but also having kids into elementary schools is fun. So like, I can't send him because I
Does
see more
GMS
for
do
her.
something like that? Story of my life.
Does Gallagher do?
But that's
anything like
where,
but I'm saying
Yeah,
that like
so
also cuts out some
Eleanor's
families.
Gallagher's after school.
So
And it's
okay,
actually,
so.
actually, Gallagher has the best after school unified program. It's great. So we're definitely trying to bring that to the high school. So that's our goal, to look like Gallagher. So,
Is that club unified or that's what is?
That's the one Ella started.
yeah, so
with,
Ella
and-
has Club Unified at the middle
Yeah,
school.
so
So
it's club.
So that's why I was like, oh.
Do you
maybe
find,
kind of
like,
a-
Is it coming back or are you revamping what, because I know years ago they had it.
yeah, so Unified at the high school was great years ago, but then after COVID, it really just went downhill.
Mhm.
So we are kind of starting off from scratch and just trying to build that up. So this year, we're probably not gonna meet that many times since the school year is coming to an end way sooner than it seems. But next year, we will be in full swing, having it not every week, but every other week, hopefully. So next year will be great.
A lot of changes in the high school.
Yeah.
here,
Do
too,
they
so.
still have like, you know, when you take gym class or phys ed class, you can choose to take the unified.
So you still have to take your, like, general unified not unified, sorry, PE class, but as an elective, you can take unified
Yes,
PE. So I'm taking unified right now.
Yeah.
And it's unified music.
It's
right?
in unified.
Oh, there's unified.
I want to
Yeah,
there one more,
that's
it was unified music, unified PE and.
because the gym does not, that
Okay.
As a
unified,
Yeah, so you still have to take.
Oh, okay.
They work
I
hard.
was definitely spraying.
Yeah,
Unified.
Yeah.
They do a gym class.
But some of,
Yeah.
some of the guidance counselors are saying that you can only take that elective once.
Yeah.
So like unified music and unified gym, you can take once, but that's a lie because I took unified gym tools.
yeah, I'm taking it.
Why should be able to take it? You should be able to take it. If you're taking your.
Yeah, so I got told.
This should be unified art too.
I thought that that's what
Exactly,
it
I
was.
think
Was there
that's
something? I think we said it. I was definitely spreading that rumor.
It was.
I mean, I know that we definitely have kids in the art class, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's not
It might not
definitely
be.
like a unified class, but they're, you know, that's one of the classes they excel, you know, in arts and even the foods and, but the music and is that a specifically.
Yeah.
I like
PE twice,
I love
it doesn't count as like a credit, so I'm taking it physically all 4 years, but I'm only getting the credit from freshman year. So, but I'm still gonna take it, so,
One time in the whole 4 years you're there.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But,
is there a reason, Eileen? You know?
I mean, I
Like
can
a
think of it
rise?
like one thing.
I think
Yeah,
it's an
elective.
elective and it's because of credits, like if you need
Yeah.
other classes.
Or is it
That's
like a
what it was.
rising, once you take so much under a code, then it's like, it only counts for that.
Yeah.
And you're retaking classes.
So it could be like unified
But it's up to
gym
you.
one,
Four
unified
times,
PE
only
two.
I know,
Like, can't they do
We
that?
might have to, we might have to create.
Like
a
just
code.
end it,
I think it's
Yeah.
like unified
Like,
PE one,
right.
unified PE two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
see
that's
it
what
with
would
like
make it
one
different, like,
senior,
can't, like, I
but
just said that, like,
one-
painting one,
whole
take
4
that
years,
4
they
times.
go
Exactly,
Yeah.
because it's important to me so I can still spend time with the IC
Yeah,
students
so
because
yeah,
it's very hard
If
to
you make it,
find a
that's
time where
how
I can
you
go
get-
see them.
Right.
So unified PE is really the only time out of the school week that I really have that time to spend with them. So I want to take it every year, but I'm not getting the credit, but I'm still gonna take it, but I like wish we could make that change to have it be
Like,
unified PE one,
I think
and
it's probably
two.
like I said,
Yeah.
I can understand if it's one credit a year, but it should every year, so I don't know if
They
it's.
used to have it, so it wasn't like an elective, so you could like take it as a gym class.
Yeah.
But then they came across a problem where like people were just taking it to like sit around and do nothing. So then they had to switch it to an elective, but now that it's an elective, the school can just like throw kids in it. So like my unified music class, like a lot of kids that like just sit there and don't do anything. And then there's like 4 of us who are actually like doing anything, but they like to have it as like people for like one person. So when there's 4 of you, then like there's other kids that are just like sitting by themselves with their parents.
Right, so maybe like freshman year, people can take it, and then after that, they have to like prove.
Yeah. no, there's-
Like something like that, like to show like, yeah, you are utilizing this elective appropriately.
It's too bad it couldn't be wrapped into a CTE for a special education program where teachers
Well,
can,
I know, like into the education program actually.
as like a
Great.
special education endorsement
I
for the teaching.
Yeah,
process.
for the teacher.
That's
class.
fine.
That would
They
be
go
awesome.
into special ed.
They do like it, so, yeah.
For the
So,
credits for that.
Yeah.
There's
I
not
see
even a
students
special
there in
ed.
their own like corner.
There's no.
They do like.
So these classes would be.
It's just like
There's
that, but
nothing
there's
like
not.
where you
like,
can
the-
go.
Like I
Okay.
can't go and visit like a special ed classroom because
But
like, this
last year,
year has to
the
like
middle school.
volunteer for it.
Unified
So right now we go to the elementary school.
Yeah.
And the closest thing I'm going to, and I observe this.
I was gonna say, you know, all.
I go to
of
this
yeah.
Oh, awesome. I see it there actually when you were leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did
that would be
that
awesome.
program in Coventry when I was in the high school there. And they had us go out to do like regular ed classes. You had in your junior year, you had to do preschool, and then senior year, you had to do elementary. But both years, you had to work in they're not ISC rooms there, but the ISC rooms, both years, you had to work in the high school classrooms as part of the credit. Like it was all integrated to make sure that you were like fully versed, and that's why it was preschool, elementary, and then
But you
you were
guys-
in those.
For that teacher
classrooms.
prep, you don't go to any special ed? That would make more, we need to
We're
revamp
in
it.
special education like unit right now, but like we're not like learning anything.
Okay, yeah.
Just walk over.
Well, that would be great, because a lot of these awesome kids we have at the high school, like,
Yeah.
and eventually when you go to Rick, guess what, or, yeah, any school,
Sorry to be
it's a
required.
dual thing you have to get, so that would make a lot of sense.
You know, one thing that was coming up a lot too about gym, which is the unified gym, but another difficult time is lunch, right? And the ISD kids are in a separate area and the tables are completely full because they need to have their parents with them. So how do you get inclusion at lunchtime? How do you get support from peers at lunchtime? And I know it's not a unified thing to
Unified.
a class, but having some form of, if it,
Lunch, but like lunch, something.
but whether it's true or not, if it's a capacity thing at the tables, why other people can't join and have lunch with them, why can't we get bigger tables?
They can't join them?
The tables are full, you can only fit like,
The
however
table
many
full.
people around two
We
people.
have buddies.
Yes, I know, it's gonna be everybody. No, I don't know, I'm talking about middle school, I'm not talking
Oh, yeah.
about.
Middle
school.
Middle.
So with the regular ed kids.
With them, without-
Three, six with the girls one day. the boys. They're all regular.
And then even like Ella sits every day, like Tyler,
We
Tyler
were told
left
that
her,
they're
like,
designated.
Tyler's left me,
Yeah,
they'll go to
kids
wherever,
and
but
the-
I mean, I was gonna say, the high school is very separated, like you
Yeah,
can see
if
the
you-
signs on the
no.
table.
Yeah, you know where the tables are, it's a bubble.
Yeah, I took
so-
pictures for Eileen.
Yeah, that,
The middle school's great with lunch. It's, there's no problem at the middle school. It's really the high schools. It's just, they're kind of in their own corner, and you can go up and you can talk to them, but there's nowhere to sit. And it's just,
See, it's tough too, like when they're younger. So like at the perch there in the back of the cafeteria, and I wanted Grayson like included in a lunch table with peers, because then if he was always in the back, I feel like by the time he gets to high school, he's not gonna wanna be around everything, because he's gonna be so used to just being put, like, so I think, I don't wanna speak for anybody at the high school, maybe some of those kids now have adapted to a quieter lunch area, so it's hard to, so it needs to start.
Yeah.
Super young.
I mean, I think about it, but it also, like, Gabriel needs a quieter space. He wants friends, but at the same time, like.
Like if there are kids that can
While out.
handle, can they move with their parents and sit somewhere else?
well, honestly, that hasn't really been brought up. Like when they finish their lunch, like I know one student, when he finishes his lunch, then he goes and says hi to his friends, but that's really the only thing that like I notice, so.
Yeah, I guess it probably depends on.
Just
Cause I know
remember
Tyler
the-
does, he has like his whole posse that,
Yeah.
Ella was so mad, cause Ella sits at that table, she's like, Tyler left me. Like, so he just.
The problem with that though, when he sits with the girls,
Yeah.
they have those tables.
Yeah.
I can tell where he sits because he comes home with a full lunch when he's with the boys. Sandwiches, nothing else. And I'm like, the girls, everything in the lunchbox, they're like.
It's pretty genius of him. and-
Yeah.
Very important lunch, they're like reserved for, that's.
Did you guys post anything about the summer camp?
One.
The wanna go again?
No, the extraordinary.
Like every
summer
day,
camp?
I think.
I think I've
Because-
posted, yeah, every.
This is the first year in 11 years that there's a summer camp.
Yeah, that's another,
Actually,
I didn't, yeah.
that is therapeutic in nature and not, I love teenagers. I love you guys. You do so much, but all day for kids that need a
Yes.
lot of.
Yeah,
it is that
services,
actual
so much for a
therapy.
teenager.
It's
This is
clinician.
I think the only thing in Rhode Island.
What about Camp Wanna Go again?
That's
Wanna
one
go?
thing.
Yeah, and
One
the
thing.
volunteers.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's true. But
It's
even
great,
then,
it's
like,
amazing, we've done
it's-
it, but
But isn't it so far away?
it's, yeah, no,
This is,
Kingstown.
this is.
And it's very expensive.
Yeah.
Extremely expensive, $500.
What? Yeah, how they gonna be
For one
talking
easy
to
person,
us.
she
So
said,
you could go back.
But I'm like, I'm sure you probably.
I've been sharing it.
But like, yeah, are you posting that
We
on?
have like a couple random like spots in each
Sure.
week, but I mean, I'm
It's
definitely.
all summer.
You're gonna
And
love
wait.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
But
You're not gonna let anybody
it's
down.
gonna be great.
No, it's
We really need to even do the planning now, and it's gonna be,
You have great ideas.
and all the
And
kids that signed up too, it's like fantastic.
I'm so
I'm
excited.
very excited. This is the first time I could feel confident. I felt,
We all see.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's something he can do. He's gonna enjoy it. He's gonna enjoy, going with kids. and being able to-
Jack was asked to help and tell everybody.
Like, for asking, and I know after
Gonna come
the,
back.
that's why, it's like, do you guys know of any summer camps like within Rhode Island that are, so now we know of one, so it's good to be able to share that, yeah, you know.
It's, yeah.
Yeah, I've put, like, anything she puts on for the camp, I've tried to push. Yeah, I've tried to push everything.
I didn't ask him much until I found out.
Yeah.
Now- So now I've been pushing now that I like officially signed together. Like, oh, no, but I'm not gonna push it.
Oh, also, I've been pushing the best of Rhode Island. If you're on there, vote for extraordinary.
Your
voting
personal
every day.
page post though is private because I shared it on my page and I got so many messages like, can you?
Yeah.
It's so excessive.
I saw people work with my kids.
It's
too.
it's very excessive, but yeah, but thank you for what you did.
I did the same thing with people that work with my kids. I'm sure. I'll-
Is there anything like up besides the camp, do you wanna say anything about extraordinary? Is there anything going, promoting? Nothing going? Do you have any events?
Perfect.
We'll have a parent event there
We're having
on the
a parent
10th.
meeting in June, we're starting to offer like mental
mental health counseling services for the kiddos and for the parents.
Yeah.
And for the whole family dynamic, so we just brought on two like really great women, I'm looking for another, if anyone is. But there's one LMHC and one LCSW.
What's that mean?
Is a licensed clinical
Oh,
social
okay.
worker.
There's so many,
work
like,
with the whole family, so that's starting in June, because I know that's really like a hard service to access nowadays, there's just like mild long wait lists, so. We're gonna start small and see how it goes, but I just started credentialing them with insurance, so.
And June 1 is potentially opening day for the new place, potentially.
If I make it there, yes.
Yeah.
It will be done in May, but we hopefully, there's like so much to set up, but it's gonna be great.
The
There's gonna be
June-ish.
meetings, but it's beautiful. And you're all welcome to come, just open door. Especially.
But thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming. Yeah, right. Perfect.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
No, thank you. So we will see you.
So, you can email me.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
You're good.